Dear friends, my fellow doctors, surgeons, physicians, clinicians, anesthetists, intensivists, specialists, super specialists, family physicians, obstetricians, gynecologists, neurologists, hematologists, pediatricians, neuropediatrics, and all the specialities and super specialities in the service of mankind. My respects and salutes. The stream of medical malpractice, medical negligence, and the allied litigations initiated, filed, prosecuted, launched against the healthcare providers over the past, say, 30 to 40 years or even more has seen a vast magnitude of the nature of claims, the fixation of responsibility and liabilities, the interface of professional indemnity policies to cover the financial awards and judgments and decrees, and the shift of, in few cases, of course, burden of proof on the complainant and the patient side to entirely upon the hospital, doctor, nursing home, as we say, the principles, applying the principles of res ipsa loquitur. Friends, irrespective of technology overtaking everything else, and most of the things primarily becoming nano in every manner, the telescopic and the panoramic views converging into superfine microscopic views, the random availability of information, datas, comparative analysis, not just hard copies, but a lot of oceans and flood of information on the internet through various mediums has certainly crystallized, precipitated, and thrown a lot of floodlight on what could go wrong, what could have gone wrong, what should not have gone wrong, and to be able to, empowered with this ability to criticize or analyze or draw conclusions and inferences, sit in prejudgment and also post judgment, even after a competent court of law has pronounced a judgment on such issues. Now, passing through all this, I repeat, passing through all this is that very sharp, bold, blunt streak of light, which is many a times, with due respect, forgotten not only by people like us, the officers of the court, the counsels, the advocates, the law officers, and the back end legal teams, but also primarily at the foundation itself. My brother doctors, the respected management looking after the hospitals, and even senior advisors. It is not by default that this is forgotten. Now, what this is, I'm coming to later. But it sometimes loses the significance and importance that it deserves in each and every case, irrespective of the nature of the treatment, whether it is daycare, whether it is OPD, whether it is a prolonged inpatient care, whether it is palliative care, whether it is a treatment for a terminally ill patient, whether those are highly complicated procedures and surgeries, or the most popular that have become today by minimum invasive procedures, and everybody can just use those terms as fluently as ever. Note that one single thing, which is the backbone, with due respect, of any clinical practice, any stream of medicine, the clinical diagnosis, the clinical judgment. Now, the clinical diagnosis and the strength of clinical judgment, to my mind, personal mind, and professional mind as well, requires to be more clear, more elaborate, more wide, more expanded, more articulate, and explained in detail, irrespective of and without exception to any case whatsoever. With due respect, the lawyers are candid people, and I crave leave to be candid here as well. My respected doctors, my respected physicians and healthcare providers, I'm appearing through an artificial medium, but while examining a patient, it is real time. It is real time. And that real time, at that real time, in that real time, during that real time, while that real time, only perhaps there are two persons, there are two human beings in flesh and blood, because I assume any doctor would be examining at least only one patient at a time. So we can say safely one patient, one doctor. So that is an equation, that is a hypothetical situation I am trying to create. So these are the two persons who know the best what had actually happened, what had actually transpired, and what by turn of events reached a certain point where perhaps due to the nature of the disease or its prognosis, no therapeutic cure was available to the patient, or perhaps the recovery was slow, or unfortunately, few other complications set in. With due respect, friends, what I have learned over the years, of course, learning from my medical fraternity entirely, as well as an officer of court and student of law from our respectful and respected courts, that the foremost tools at the command of any doctor, the basis of his intellectual ability to pick up the signs, symptoms, presentations, is the faculty of his clinical diagnosis, the pair of hands which all of us have, the two eyes which we all have, pair of ears which we all have, and that specialized sense of clinical judgment to arrive at a decision, to take decisions. So many decisions in a go, only for the best interest of the patient. It may sound to the non medical world amusing or even perhaps surprising, amazing that even not doing anything, just remaining quiet, silent, and watchful as a doctor towards a patient is also a sense of virtue, which is quote and unquote known as masterly inactivity and expectant management. Now, for the layman, the patient who has not been either thoroughly explained or taken into confidence or educated by my brothers, the medical men, this may be taken as a lack of care, a reflection of arrogance, disregard to the seriousness of a patient's problem viewed by himself or his attendants. So, the hallmark of clinical practice, just as it is, will always remain clinical diagnosis, clinical judgment. Therefore, as a sequelae, as an ordinary outcome of this is that whenever a matter reaches the doorsteps of a court, or whenever a patient, his attendant, well wishers, friends, or even our own fraternal colleagues giving them a backup to either assuage the criticality of the confusions and hostility, or even to the extent of giving second or third opinions for speeding up the recoveries of the patients who are known to them, it will always be highly probable to have a first hand information to the arrival of the patient to the doctor. The communication, the interaction between the two and oblique or the attendants and religiously recording them, recording this information in detail. Followed by the steps, clinical judgment based steps, clinical diagnosis based steps, which may not even be recorded by a CCTV, which may not be reproduced as it is on a recording like the one I'm presenting at YouTube channel, but which remains as the inherent and solemn virtue of the doctor who has been trained after completion of his schooling by a standardized, recognized course, and after passing out the examinations, he has further undergone a lot of hard work to accomplish the qualification to practice. Thankfully, to all of us, few of the doctors keep studying, go for higher learning, notwithstanding the mandatory CMEs or otherwise, or joining the federations, associations, and national or international bodies for excellence and assuming a lot of honor and respect for themselves as well as the country, making the country proud. But they also get additional higher qualification, the postgraduate and even higher qualifications, irrespective of attainment of the degrees, the recognitions, the honors, the publishing of their articles, notes, and indexes in national and international literature. The essence and the core and the strength, the base, the foundation shall always remain those specialized, developing, and developed skills of clinical diagnosis and clinical judgment. In the eyes of law, therefore, an element of sanctity is also attached and added to this. It is always, it is always kept in mind by us as officers of the courts that we will never try to step into the shoes of the medical man or impose our judgment on the clinical judgment. Therefore, an error of judgment, except in few cases, an error of judgment may not or shall not, subject to the facts of the case and the honorable benches examining the evidence on record, shall not or may not tantamount to medical negligence. So, a lot of respect, and in a critical note, I would say a lot of long rope is handed over to my brother doctors to give in their best to attend to the patients with quality time, making the, with due respect to all just exceptions, making the endovision devices, the robotic equipments, the image generating machines, the exceptionally high tech infrastructure globally available, foreign manufactured or our proud Indian industry producing the same. No matter what, the patient may go under any machine or be exposed to any kind of image building or reflection of the micro interiors of the human anatomy affected by the pathophysiology of the disease with which has come. The eyes, ears, and hands and the sense of clinical judgment of doctor will always be at point number one, and after drawing the full and complete circle shall still remain at the same place. That is why, my dear friends, as a student, most humbly I have to say, irrespective of any person getting the tests done, getting the pathological laboratory reports or images, the radiology images, the CT scans, the MRIs, and whole lot of technical investigations conducted on Any patient may reproduce the inference, findings, or impressions in short or in detail, and may also sign the report, being duly qualified to do so. Again, exception is there to not culminate into a diagnosis at his or her end. Yet, at the bottom of such documents, we always find to correlate clinically. It makes a lot of sense. It is not just a warning or an indicator or an alarm or an alert, just as we have statutory warnings in some products and services. But it is a recognition of the fact that finally, ultimately, and conclusively, diagnosing the disease, selection of the treatment of choice, managing the plan for setting out an architecture for the patient, sharing the details of his cause of sufferings vis-a-vis the position of vital organs in the human anatomy, and reach out to the patient or his or her attendants in as simple manner as possible so as to make him aware of his present condition with which he has come, the possibilities of getting a correction or remedy from that condition, the likely duration and time which may be consumed while doing so, the options available with the medical side, and his primary right to think over and choose from those options. And then at the same time, before any kind of invasion is made, he should happily, understandably, and after understanding whatever he wants to know. This particular session is not on consent or informed consent. We are on clinical diagnosis. Again, it becomes a two-way process. I just cannot diagnose and keep it to myself. So half of the consent form is beautifully architectured if we are sharing this clinic diagnosis with the patient on extempore and as is where is basis. So now if everything is shared and the patient and his attendants are aware of the necessary steps which are ostensibly sincere as well. In our side of the world, we bow down and always remember that justice should not only be done, but it should appear to have been done. Similarly, I humbly bow down to my friends and respectfully say that attention to the patient should not only be done, but it should also seem to have been done. So, this is a very thin line where a patient may not be treated well, may even be refused attendance because of lack of equipment or emergency care at our establishment. But if we are able to attend to him personally, listen to his problems, and professionally, as we all do, start that process of diagnosis and investigation and come to a conclusion within reasonable time, not deviating too much as per the protocols, then every patient, irrespective of his background, learning, education, economic status, those are all immaterial. Human intelligence is the same all over. We are not equating by the markers of IQ, but we are just looking at the perspective with the perspective from, say, worldly wisdom or street smartness and human interaction. So these are few things, the life skills, which sometimes put into play in medical care also prominently, visually, would certainly send a message that we had done our job. Now, once this clinical diagnosis, clinical judgment, communication between the patient and the doctor, arriving at a conclusion, settling the various treatment choices, setting out the options, making a clear goal where procedures or surgeries are involved, and inform the patient about the nature of the same, whether it's serious, whether it is an emergency measure, or it is going to be an elective one, and the requirement of, for example, blood or otherwise, and the likelihood of certain complications, which complications are sometimes occurring, not because of my education as a doctor, but because the human body reacts in such a manner. And just as complications will crop up, the healing process will also come into play because the human body has to react in that manner. So finally, the patient has to understand that irrespective of the skills, the expertise, the knowledge, and the distance we have traveled over time in medical science, the human body finally looks after itself. And whatever achievement, whatever result he gets during, at the time of, or after the treatment, of course, it's commendable that we have healthcare providers all over the world who are dedicated, even at the cost of their own health and life and limb. But unless and until the patient's own human body, the patient's own anatomy, metabolism, and his entire system responds to the hard work of the doctor, it may still not get the result. And finally, the patient also has to, in his own simple language, understand that medicine is an inexact science. Now, in this entire world of inexactness, using a scientific mind and the faculties of the brain, which a human body normally has, a doctor is specially, exceptionally equipped with that intellectual ability of making a clinical judgment, giving a clinical diagnosis as a person, as a human being, as a human body, just as the patient is. And with this exception, if the cases are presented before the court respectfully, it can make a lot of difference. So, my humble submission to conclude is that we should always give importance to our clinical diagnosis and clinical judgment before, please, before preparing our defenses, our responses, our replies in any matter involving alleged events of medical negligence. Thank you so much. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.